really good heading into the season, especially after the nice playoffs he had last year. Last year you told us you don't know what he's going to be. He's obviously only 22 still, but you can't wait to find out. On that, what do you maybe expect him to be this year, or the steps he's going to take this year?
I think we're fairly close to this idea, and that would be there is a significant drop in a lot of teams in your first, second, and third line. And with Eetu there, and whoever does sort himself into the right wing position on that line, that I'm expecting their nights that they are our best line. I think you could come in and say between Barkov and Bennett's line, it'll be a saw-off. One night it'll be one line, half the time that you would expect kind of. But that's the line now. He's certainly not hiding them. Not that I really did in the past. I think in the playoffs 2 years ago, that's when things changed for those guys. But Sam Reinhart was there. And we would get into games late with the lead, and they would change the matchup, and they would run their best line against Lundell's line, and that ended up being really good for us. And now your expectation is, with young players, you're kind of managing mistakes, right? You're constantly looking for them to improve, and we wouldn't be managing mistakes. I don't know that I would shouldn't be pointing something out more to Lundell than I necessarily would to Bennett or Barkov. He's got 60 playoff games already at his age, so he's dialed in, he's had experience, so we're expecting that line some nights to be the difference maker for us.
And he talked about that. It's a little weird that he's still kind of the young guy on the team.
Yeah.
He's been through so much at this point.
Yeah. I think he sheds that not by age, but by performance. He's not looked at. A lot of times your top two lines will go out, and then there's you're just waiting for the reset for the top two lines to go back out. But we think that line can play in both ends, can take face-offs in both ends, and be very reliable. Very probably have Luostarinen and Lundell kill together this year, and go over the boards first to do it, unless we've got right-handed face-offs. So they're going to take a more important role, more minutes this year.
Didn't see Thomas Nosek or
No.
Mackey out there.
No, so Thomas is still, it's going to take a few days for us to know the extent of this injury with him, how fast he heals, but this is not going to be short term, so we're weeks, not days. Where we are right now, Sam Reinhart, he had kind of like a flare up when he went back on the ice. It didn't get worse, it just, we want to get him cleaned up, so I don't have him certainly in the game tomorrow, and I'm not. My expectation is that he won't practice with us until we get toward the weekend, Friday or Saturday possibly. And then, as you saw, sort of went down in the practice. He's getting looked at right now. First thought when you looked at is he may look like he went in head first, but there isn't a sign now that he's got a concussion. It looks like he's just cut his face up a little bit, and then he's got some upper body stiffness. That'll be tomorrow. We'll figure out how he is.
Was this second group kind of is that the team you're sending?
So nobody, prior to the injury to nobody in the first group is playing tomorrow, and the entire team for tomorrow will come out of the second group, so there's too many players there. And then I may pull a guy from the first group to put him in for that game. The second group is the game group, a version of the game group.
And as far
Patty will get that out to you.
No, yeah, no. You didn't skate those guys, and I figured.
Correct, and that's why.
That's why.
They've worked hard, and I like their pace. When you have, the second group is always better than the first, regardless in terms of kind of intensity jump, because they get to sleep in, go on at noon, they're all warmed up, they get a little more rest. The other guys are practicing at a time they never practice at, so they're just out of rhythm a little bit. So those guys worked hard, they had jump, they're trying to impress, they're trying to make the team. Then I want to give them the chance to not to be really stiff and sore. The Nashville games, I had very low expectations. I expected them to look fatigued, and I thought they did in a completely right way, right? They still worked really hard, but they were hurting. I expect more jump here in the game tomorrow.
It appeared that Nosek was going to be your fourth line center. Now that you're saying week, so he's out for opening night. Is it kind of a tryout thing, or would you consider a veteran guy like like Zach Dalpe. I mean, is
all
it-
of those guys, then now there's an opportunity. And Thomas may heal faster than that. He may be right for the opening night. I don't know. I'm just kind of hedging a little bit on that one. I don't know the answer to it. But yes, is the answer. All of the players that have a center ice experience are going to get a real good look here in the next 3 games especially.
And is this injury, is this something we're calling protocol or something of that
No,
sort?
no, it's not his head. It's
It's
upper
not his
body.
head.
No,
Okay.
It's upper body. There's no concussion.
Because he
on
was
that.
hunched over, like we didn't know if
Yeah,
he was.
you and I both didn't know, so no, he had no signs of a concussion.
It's not a-
and hasn't. It's more than just the first 20 minutes where we say concussion and all. A lot of times we won't know for 48 hours. You know, you're waiting for signs. So there weren't any. There still aren't. We're confident that it isn't.
When it goes back to the third line, the guy with Eetu and Anton, you've been giving Sandys a lot of opportunity with him. Just what have you seen so far in camp out of him and sort of how he might be able to?
That almost comes off last year. There are other players that will get an opportunity there as well. But I really liked his camp last year. He's a young player still. I think he has lots of parts of his game will grow. I think he has the skill to have it grow. I could say he's in the competition for that job, but I would have other players that are definitely in the comp. I just haven't run them there. And it wasn't going to. That was going to be sort of whole, I think, tomorrow. Or at least those 2 guys aren't playing. The next time Luostarinen and Lundy will play, in my mind right now, is Saturday. And that's when the second, we'll move guys around in practice, and then we'll take a look on Saturday.
So you look, if Sam Reinhart is back, he might go in there, or is it?
Well, he's going to get a look there at some point. Hopefully there's enough time on the clock for us to get more than a game or 2 and to see what he looks there.
You talk about the expectations from one game to the other. How do your expectations change as you get to tomorrow night's game and then further down this week?
Almost going with no expectations because there won't be very many players in the line that played for us last year. What I'm looking for, I guess this is the expectation, is they would have a slightly better understanding of at least one of our systems that we've covered twice. So we've kind of covered our neutral zone now twice. It's the more complex part of our game, or a better way of putting it. It's most likely that players haven't seen our neutral zone before checking the D zone. It's versions of something they played their whole life. So I'm looking for guys that can do that. And then my hope is we didn't run them into the ice today. They've seen our game a little bit. We've practiced drills a little bit, so they'll start to look faster. Their legs should be there, but they won't be processing their reads as it won't take them as long to process the game. That they can get a little quicker with their reads.
Goaltending plan for tomorrow?
I haven't talked to Robbie Tallis about that. Robbie Tallis and Addy run the goaltenders here for us. We've already cleared that up. I have very little input to it.
You said the other day though that would be the only, the doubleheader would be the only 30-30 split. So whoever starts, would they get the whole game, or are you looking at maybe 2 periods and 40-20?
It may be different in our next 2 games, but you might see a 40-minute game for one goaltender, so we shave it down right down to where they get the whole one. Yes.
Coach Sachin talked about being more comfortable in this camp
Yeah.
compared to last year. What have you seen in his growth over the last year?
Well, I never thought he was uncomfortable. Like that would be the thing last year. You're going to see a young guy, not the biggest guy on the ice, but he's a gamer, which is a general term for he's playing. He's not out in the drills not to make a mistake. He's playing. He's running the drills, trying to score. If he's on offense, trying to defend. He's wired into it. But in 1 year, such an incredible difference in a young man at that age. He's done really good work this summer. Last year, God, it was hard camp, and it was even, you know, go through those first 4 days, you're wondering if he's going to survive it, and he did. This year, he hasn't fallen off after the first 3 or 4 days. He hasn't weakened, and that is like critical, because you almost find at the 10th day of camp this kind of split, and it's almost physical strength. So everybody's tired. The guys that are in a little bit, and you know, not even always the guys that are in better shape. 27-year-old man over the 18-year-old man, his body starts to recover and he gets more powerful. Like he's had 10 great workouts and now he gets stronger. And then the younger guys, some of them just couldn't be in that kind of shape. They haven't developed, they're not old enough. Or the guys who weren't quite in the shape with the rest of the guys, they start to break down. Right? It gets a little too hard, they get a little slower. Everybody else is getting faster, and it happens naturally. he doesn't look it. So today, he gets a day off yesterday, and he looks right. He looks like he's recovered and he's back on it.
Thank you. Thanks,
Okay,
Coach.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Coach.